It happens when you're not paying attention. You're sitting at a red light, scrolling your phone, cleaning the dishes, doing something ordinary, and suddenly, you're not there anymore. Something cracks open, something invisible. Maybe it's a sound in the distance. Maybe it's the way the air feels on your skin. Maybe it's nothing at all, just a wave that rises out of nowhere. And then it hits you, a memory you didn't ask for, a thought you haven't touched in years, a version of yourself so distant, you barely recognize them. You're not just thinking about the past, you're inside it. You can smell the room. You can hear the voice of someone who's no longer in your life. You can feel something that hasn't been felt in so long, you didn't even know you were missing it. Why now? Why this one? Why does it feel like the memory chose you, not the other way around? That's not just an accident. That's not just a glitch in your brain. That's something deeper. And if you understand it, you understand yourself. It starts with nothing, just a quiet moment, the kind you don't even notice. You're wiping down the kitchen counter, or scrolling past videos, or waiting for the kettle to boil, and then something changes. You hear a sound, or maybe you don't. Maybe it's just the silence that grows a little too wide, and suddenly your chest tightens. Not with panic, not with pain, but with a kind of pressure. Like your body knows something before you do. Your hand stops moving, your eyes lose focus, and in that gap, you see between one moment and the next, you're pulled backwards. Not slowly, not gently, instantly. You're not in the room anymore. You're standing in the hallway of your childhood home, or sitting in the back seat of your father's car, or walking across the schoolyard, the air warm and full of something you didn't understand at the time. It's not a vague picture. It's not imagination. It's a place, a feeling, a world. And for a moment, you're not just remembering, you're inhabiting. You can smell the wood varnish. You can hear the TV in the next room. You can taste the cheap lunch you used to complain about, but now miss in ways you can't explain. And the strangest part, you didn't try to remember this. You didn't dig it up. You didn't go searching for it. It found you, and now you're stuck in it. Breath slow, eyes glassy, heart suddenly full of something you can't quite name. Is it longing, regret, grief for something that doesn't exist anymore? Or for a version of yourself that never truly got to say goodbye? Your logical mind tries to speak. It tells you it's just a coincidence, just a passing thought, but your body knows better. It remembers. It remembers the weight of that backpack, the sound of a specific voice yelling from down the hall, the way the sunlight hit the wall that day and made you feel like life was just beginning. It remembers being small, being uncertain, feeling invisible in a world that never slowed down long enough to ask what you needed. And now, decades later, that feeling has returned. Unannounced, uninvited, but absolutely certain that you're ready to feel it again. Because you are. That's why it came now, not 5 years ago, not when it first happened, but now, when your heart is just cracked open enough, when your defenses are tired, when your soul is quiet enough to listen. This memory is not a ghost. It's a message. It's the child version of you, the one who still lives deep inside, finally speaking up. And it doesn't want you to solve anything. It doesn't want you to fix the past. It just wants to be seen, to be felt, to be acknowledged, and maybe to be loved, even now, even still. There are things you don't remember, not because they were unimportant, but because you had to forget them to survive. Your mind moved on. It buried the details. It tucked the moment into a shadowed corner of your brain, locked behind logic and adult distractions. But your body never forgot. The nervous system recorded everything: the shape of the fear, the weight of the silence, the subtle ways your shoulders tightened whenever someone raised their voice. You thought you got over it. You thought you outgrew the pain. But healing isn't about forgetting. It's about integration. And your body knows when something was left unresolved. That's why, years later, when someone says something in just the right tone, when a hand gestures a little too fast, when a room gets too quiet, your stomach flips, your chest tightens, your breath goes shallow. It's not out of nowhere. It's a trigger. Not in the social media sense, not in the watered-down, overused way, but in the true sense. Something deep inside you was activated, something ancient, something you thought was gone, but it's not gone. It's embedded in the way your muscles respond, in how quickly you scan a room for danger, in how you flinch, even just slightly when love feels too close or too unfamiliar. You see, your body isn't working against you. It's protecting you. It's saying, we've been here before. This feels like then. Be careful. But it doesn't know the difference between past danger and present discomfort. That's your job, to teach it, to say, thank you for remembering, but I'm safe now. And that's when things begin to shift, when the body starts to soften, when the memories don't just ambush you, they begin to unfold. They come less like storms and more like stories. Stories that are finally ready to be heard, not just by your brain, but by your entire self. They say the past is behind you, that it's over, done. But that's not how memory works. Memory doesn't live in time. It lives in triggers. And those triggers, they're everywhere. You walk past a stranger on the sidewalk, and the smell of their cologne makes your entire chest collapse. Not because of them, because someone from your past wore it too. And suddenly you're back in that room, that conversation, that feeling of safety or betrayal or helplessness. You didn't ask for it. You didn't see it coming. But that one molecule of scent broke open a door you didn't know was there. Triggers aren't always dramatic. They don't come with warning signs. They arrive wrapped in ordinary. The sound of shoes on tile, the light at exactly 4:07 p.m. on a cloudy day, the rhythm of a voice that hits your ears in a strangely familiar way. And before your conscious mind can catch up, your body has already remembered. You look around the room, nothing's changed, but inside, everything has. Your pulse races, you're distracted, you feel emotional, but you don't know why. And this is what makes triggers so powerful. They bypass logic, they skip the filter, because memory isn't about facts. It's about emotion, about feeling. Your brain may have forgotten the date, the dialogue, the exact timeline, but it never forgot the feeling. And when something in the present echoes that feeling, the whole memory lights up, not like a story, but like a place you've just re-entered. You may be a grown adult standing in a coffee shop, but for those few seconds, you are also 5 years old again, waiting in the dark, listening for footsteps. Or 17, hearing someone say goodbye and knowing it would be the last time. And here's the wild part. Your brain doesn't care if the memory is good or bad. It just cares that it's unresolved, that something in it still wants your attention, that some part of your heart, even now, is still holding on. So the trigger, it's not there to hurt you. It's there to help you remember something you didn't even know you needed to feel. Have you ever wondered, why did this memory come back now? Why not last year? Why not when you were actively thinking about that person, or that place, or that phase of your life? Why does something you thought you buried suddenly climb back to the surface during the most random moment? Like brushing your teeth, or putting on your shoes, or standing alone in an elevator? It's not coincidence, it's timing. Your mind doesn't just store information, it protects you. And some memories, they don't come back until your subconscious believes you can handle them. Not because they were erased, but because they were too much for the version of you that lived through them. Too painful, too confusing, too overwhelming. So your mind placed them behind a locked door, not to punish you, but to protect the parts of you that were still fragile, still growing, still learning how to stand. And now that you're stronger, even if you don't feel like it, your mind knows. It knows you have the emotional vocabulary to process what you couldn't before. It knows your heart has stretched just enough to contain that pain, that joy, that confusion. It knows you're finally ready to listen. That's why, out of nowhere, a memory you haven't touched in 15 years suddenly floods your mind. Not as a vague thought, but as a living, breathing experience. Your brain has been holding onto it for you. Like a parent saving a letter until the child is old enough to read it. And now, you're old enough. Now you can go back into that moment, not as the version of you who was powerless, but as the one who has grown, who has perspective, who has presence. So don't push the memory away. Don't drown it in noise or distraction. Don't ask why now with fear in your voice. Ask it with curiosity. Because when a memory returns without warning, it's not always because something is broken. Sometimes it's because something is finally ready to heal. Some of the most powerful memories don't come from tragedy or heartbreak or even major life events. They come from the quiet moments, the insignificant ones, a blanket pattern, the color of a cereal box, the smell of your old couch in the late afternoon when cartoons were on. You haven't thought about it in years, maybe even decades, but one small trigger and suddenly you're sitting on that couch again, legs barely touching the floor, waiting for someone to come home, or for someone to notice you, or for nothing at all. And it hits you, not with logic, not with a full story, but with a wave, one that pulls you back into a version of yourself you haven't been in so long. That part of you forgot they existed, but they did exist. They still do. You see, childhood doesn't disappear. It just goes quiet. You grow older. You learn how to speak the adult language, jobs, bills, routines, schedules. But deep down, there's still that version of you who's waiting to be seen. Not just the wounded child, but the curious one, the sensitive one, the one who felt the world so deeply it often hurt. And that's the thing. Many of the memories that return out of nowhere aren't about pain at all. They're about presence, about being so fully alive in a moment that your mind burned it into permanent memory. A bike ride on a cool evening, the hum of insects just before dinner, the way your mother brushed your hair behind your ear one specific night for no specific reason. These details, small, meaningless to others, are carved into you, not because of what happened, but because of what they meant. They were the moments you felt safe or unseen, or like the world finally slowed down just enough for you to exist in it. And when that memory comes back, years later while you're commuting or brushing your teeth or staring into a screen, your body reacts before your thoughts can catch up. A tightness in the throat, a single tear, a whisper of a smile for someone you haven't spoken to in 15 years. You may not know what triggered it, but the memory doesn't need your understanding. It just wants your attention. Because that child you were, they don't need you to fix anything now. They just want you to look back, to remember, to see them, and maybe to say the words they never heard in time. I remember you, and you mattered. By now, you've probably noticed something. These memories don't ask permission. They don't wait for the perfect time. They don't care if you're busy. They just show up. And when they do, they hijack your attention. Your chest tightens, your mood shifts. You go quiet, not because something's wrong, but because something old is resurfacing. The question is, what are they trying to say? Because make no mistake, every memory that returns uninvited is carrying a message. It could be an invitation to grieve something you never fully let yourself feel. It could be a warning, a signal that you're repeating an old pattern. It could be a gift, a reminder of joy you've been too numb to reach for in your adult life. But no matter what it is, it's never meaningless. The subconscious mind is a genius. It doesn't waste energy. It doesn't dredge things up unless they matter. When a memory floods you out of nowhere, especially one you thought you had forgotten, your deeper mind is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Feel this. There's still something here, something unprocessed, something misunderstood, something unfinished." And that's what most people miss. They think the goal is to get rid of the memory, to shut it down, to push it away with distractions or noise or some positive thinking mantra that doesn't stick. But memories don't need to be pushed away. They need to be witnessed. When a memory returns, and whether it's joyful, painful, confusing, or all three, it's not trying to control you. It's trying to connect with you. It's saying, something inside you still wants to be understood, and I'm showing you how. But if you ignore it, if you dismiss it or stuff it back down, the message doesn't go away. It just gets louder, more intrusive, more desperate to be felt. That's why some people live in loops, repeating the same behaviors, falling into the same types of relationships, avoiding the same conversations with themselves. Because the memory didn't get resolved, it got buried. But here's the good news. You don't have to dig it out. You don't have to fix it or reframe it or spin it into some perfect story. You just have to feel it, to sit with it, to say, "I see you, I remember, and I'm listening." Because that's all your memory wants. Not to trap you in the past, but to free you from pretending it never happened. You're not done remembering. There's another moment coming soon. It won't feel significant at first. It might arrive when you're tying your shoes, sitting in traffic, lying in bed after midnight, staring at the ceiling, pretending you're fine. And then it will hit, a flash, a feeling, a whisper from a time you haven't thought about in years. And it won't be loud. It won't scream. It will arrive quietly, like most important things do. And you'll have a choice. You can do what you usually do. Distract, scroll, bury, move on. Or you can stop, feel your breath, and listen. Because that memory, that fragment from the past, it's not here to torment you. It's here to teach you. It might be the piece you've been missing. The thing that finally helps you understand why you react the way you do. Why you fear love. Why you chase things that hurt you. Why you feel lonely in rooms full of people. Why certain words still sting, even when you pretend they don't. This isn't about staying trapped in the past. It's about unlocking the present. Because when you remember with intention, when you give space to the memories that rise, you're not just looking back. You're rebuilding yourself, reconnecting the broken parts, reclaiming moments that were lost too soon or left too unresolved. And more than that, you're honoring the truth that you've always been whole, even in pain, even in confusion, even when you didn't have the words for what you were feeling. You were never broken. You were just waiting to remember. So the next time it happens, when you feel that rush of memory swell up like a wave, don't brace yourself, don't run, lean in, because this might be the memory that changes everything. You came to this video with no idea what would surface, and maybe now, you're not just watching, you're feeling, you're remembering your old house, a laugh you haven't heard in years, a room that no longer exists, filled with people who no longer call. You're remembering you, not the version the world knows, not the role you perform, but the raw, real, quiet you. The one who saw everything, the one who felt too much, the one who stayed silent when they should have screamed or walked away or simply said, "I'm not okay." And now, after all this time, that version of you is resurfacing, not to haunt you, but to be seen, to be heard, to be held. You don't have to solve everything today. You don't have to figure out why that memory came back or what it means. Just sit with it and let it be what it is, a message, a mirror, a moment of reconnection with a part of your life that shaped you, even if you didn't realize it until now. Because that's the truth most people run from. We are not made of moments we choose. We are shaped by moments that choose us. And when one rises, without warning, into the quiet of your day, it's not random, it's returning. So next time a memory catches you off guard, pause, breathe, and remember this. That memory came to remind you, you're still becoming whole.